The transport skidded across the barren ground, throwing up clouds of dust and loose rocks. The human clung to the side heart, hammering muscles straining as the creature came into view, its massive body sprawled across the cracked earth, smoke rising. From deep gashes along its flank the air smelled of burnt metal and scorched soil. The human stumbled forward, boots scraping against stone and grit, every step heavy with urgency and fear, and yet there was something fragile in the way the creature moved, a low groan escaping its throat, a sound that made the human freeze for a moment, chest tightening, eyes scanning the alien medic standing like a sentinel at the edge of the clearing, arms crossed, rigid in armor, glinting in the harsh sun. The medic did not flinch, its eyes sharp and unyielding, a wall of authority. The human took a deep, shuddering breath, a fist pressed against the dirt, trying to push back panic, and the instinct to scream or run. A thin wind carried the scent of oil and blood mingling with the tang of dust. The creature twitched its massive clawed limb, dragging slightly across the stone, leaving a shallow groove in the ground, and the human felt a pang of helplessness wrenching at the chest. And yet even from this distance there was a pulse, a rhythm to the creature, breathing uneven and shallow, but there nevertheless. And the human bent down closer, heart pounding, whispering words that had no weight, yet felt heavy inside, body trembling, legs aching, and eyes locked on the creature, face smeared with dirt and burn marks, eyes wide and blinking rapidly in confusion and fear. The alien medic shifted slightly, a shadow passing across the armor, as though the human presence alone challenged its rigid resolve. The wind kicked up again, dust spiraling and catching the sunlight, making everything seem unreal, like a dream. The human reached out a hand, hesitant, shaking slightly, fingertips brushing the scorched surface of the creature, shoulder warmth seeping into the cold metal spikes that jutted from its body, muscles tensed but did not recoil. The human swallowed a lump in the throat, feeling a connection impossible to explain, a thread of trust, fragile and brittle, stretching from creature to human. A faint whimper escaped the wounded mouth, and the human froze, chest rising and falling, rapid and shallow eyes searching for a sign of pain and recognition at the same time. The medic did not move, did not intervene, yet its eyes flicked between them, sharp and calculating. The human crouched lower every second, stretching endlessly as the world seemed to hold its breath. Around the injured creature, the smell of burnt flesh and ozone filled the air, mingling with the copper taste of fear and hope, all coexisting in the same heartbeat. The human whispered again, words too soft for anyone else to hear. "Easy, buddy, just easy." The alien medic stood unmoving, arms still crossed, its eyes scanning the human and the creature, every muscle rigid. The human looked up, heart pounding, throat tight, swallowing words that had no power against the medic presence. Yet every second that passed felt like an eternity. The creature shivered slightly, groaning low, its body trembling with pain and exhaustion, and the human reached closer, one hand hovering above the warm, scarred surface of the creature's shoulder, careful not to touch too hard but close enough to offer comfort, whispering, "Easy, buddy," again and again, voice soft but insistent, trying to weave a thread of trust through the tension that filled the clearing. The medic tilted its head slightly, a faint glint of curiosity in the sharp eyes, but no movement, no offer of help. The human froze, watching the subtle flicker of shadow across the mimetic armor, wondering if it meant anything, or if it was just the wind brushing dust across the plates. The creature whimpered louder this time, a raw sound that twisted something deep inside the human chest, and yet the medic did not flinch, did not move, its stance unyielding, a wall between life and death. The human dropped slowly to one knee, chest pressed close to the ground, eyes never leaving the creature, watching every shallow breath, counting every heartbeat as if it were a lifetime, reaching forward, hand steadying, trembling fingertips brushing the rough edge of the creature's skin. A flicker of warmth, a pulse that sent a shiver up the human spine, and still the medic did not act. The human whispered words that felt like prayer, "Easy, buddy, stay with me, don't be afraid, come on." And the creature let out a small, low growl that was almost a sigh, a sound that felt like a spark of life returning, and the human clung to it, hope rising even as the medic eyes bore into them, calculating, silent, waiting, deciding. And the wind stirred dust around the three figures, the sun beating down on their backs, a harsh light casting long shadows, and the humans stayed there, kneeling, whispering, murmuring soft words of comfort, knowing every second counted, knowing trust had to be earned in this moment between pain and refusal. And the medic still did not move, a silent judge of life and death. Standing between them, the creature shivered violently, body convulsing under the weight of its own pain, low groans rattling through its throat as each shallow breath seemed to take all its strength. The human leaned closer, hand hovering, trembling, just above the wound heart, hammering eyes, locked on the flicker of life beneath the burnt and torn skin, whispering, "Easy buddy, don't fight it, let me help you feel safe." And the creature twitched, its massive claw dragging faint grooves into the dirt. Its eyes wide and glistening with fear and confusion, every muscle taut and trembling, but it did not run, it did not lash out, it stayed frozen in the presence of the human, who crouched low, every motion deliberate, gentle, slow, careful not to startle but desperate to reach the warmth of trust. Hidden beneath the shock and pain, the alien medic stood, a few steps away, rigid, unblinking, its gaze sharp, like a blade cutting through the tension, but the human hardly noticed, focusing entirely on the creature, watching the rise and fall of its chest, counting every shallow breath, memorizing the way. The skin quivered under fingertips, the wind picked up dust swirling around the three figures carrying the faint, metallic temps of blood and burnt flesh across the clearing. The human whispered again, low steady words meant only for the creature. "Easy buddy, it's okay. I am here with you, trust me now." And the creature let out a low whining sound that was almost a plea, a fragile sound that carried the weight of exhaustion and fear and longing. The human placed a hand lightly on the creature's shoulder, feeling the tremor of muscles and the warmth of its faint pulse. The medic shifted slightly, a faint click of armor, as if the rigid wall was cracking, ever so slightly, but still, it said nothing. The creature moved, its head a fraction closer to the human shoulder, eyes half closed, and the human murmured softly, feeling a spark of hope flicker in the chest. A fragile thread that held life together in that moment, in that heat, in the dust, in the shadow of refusal. And still the medic stood, watching, silent and calculating. The wind rose higher, whipping dust through the air, carrying with it the faint scent of smoke, blood, and hope. The human sank fully to one knee, chest pressed low, hands trembling but steady, eyes never leaving the creature, face pale and streaked with sweat and dirt, every breath shallow and ragged, whispering, easy buddy," over and over, as if the words themselves could weave a shield around the wounded body. The creature flinched at first, muscles tensing, claws digging into the earth, but it did not flee, it did not strike, it simply shivered, trembling under the weight of pain and fear. The human leaned closer, moving slowly, every motion deliberate and careful, hand hovering near the creature's shoulder, waiting for the right moment to touch softly, murmuring gentle phrases meant only for the creature. "Feel safe here, you are not alone, do not be afraid." The creature sniffed the air, a low whining sound escaping its throat as it turned slightly, its massive head toward the human, eyes wide and glistening with uncertainty and a flicker of recognition. The human pressed a hand lightly against the rough, burnt skin, feeling the heat of life beneath, the wound pulse faint but there, and whispered, "Easy buddy, don't be afraid, I am here now." The alien medic remained still, a few steps back, watching every movement, unblinking, calculating, silent, a shadow of doubt passing across the sharp features of its face, as if it could not understand why the creature had not bolted or lashed out. The wind kicked up again, dust swirling around the three figures, sunlight catching in the metallic plates of the medic and casting long shadows over the dirt and scars. The creature let out a small low sigh, a tremor passing through its massive frame, and the human held steady, murmuring, easy buddy, your life is safe with me." And a tiny shiver ran through the creature, like it was letting go just a fraction, trusting the presence of the kneeling human. As the medic watched, silently uncertain, and still, the clearing felt suspended in time, every heartbeat stretching longer, every shallow breath more precious than the last. The human pressed closer, whispering softly, fingers brushing the scorched surface, feeling warmth, pulse, tremor, and hope threading, fragile and unbroken between them. Time seemed to stretch. The human stayed, low hand resting gently on the creature shoulder, whispering, "Easy buddy, your life is safe with me," while the creature shivered slightly, eyes half closed, muscles trembling but no longer thrashing. The alien medic remained motionless, a shadow of doubt flickering in its sharp gaze, arms still crossed, rigid, yet watching every flicker of trust and connection between human and creature. The wind stirred dust swirling around their feet, carrying the faint smell of burnt flesh and metal. The human leaned closer, murmuring softly words that felt like a lifeline. The creature tilted its massive head, nudging toward the human chest, a small low sigh escaping its throat, as if deciding to believe for a moment that someone could be trusted. The medic took a slow step forward, hesitating, eyes narrowing then widening, as though questioning everything it had assumed, and the human whispered, "Easy buddy," softly, feeling hope threading through the dust and tension like a fragile doctor Human stayed crouched, low hand resting lightly on the creature's shoulder, feeling the subtle tremor of muscles beneath fingertips, each shiver a reminder of the pain and fear that still gripped the massive body, whispering "easy buddy" over and over, words soft but insistent, meant to weave trust into the fragile thread of connection. The creature shivered again, but this time, it did not pull away. It lifted its massive head slightly, eyes flickering toward the human face, searching for a sign, a glimmer of safety that it could cling to. The human murmured softly, brushing away dirt and soot from the scorched skin, careful to avoid the gashes. Every touch, deliberate, slow, gentle fingers tracing along the rough edges, feeling warmth, pulse, and life beneath the wounds. The alien medic remained a few steps back, rigid eyes sharp, but now uncertainty clouding the usual authority. It radiated. The human looked up briefly, catching the shadow in the medic gaze, and returned attention fully to the creature, whispering, "Easy buddy, just relax." Its voice low, steady, a rhythm meant to calm and soothe. A rhythm the creature seemed to feel instinctively, muscles easing slightly, and breathing slowing a fraction. The wind stirred, lifting dust around them. Sunlight caught the edges of armor and fur, glinting faintly in the haze, and the human pressed closer, feeling the warmth of the creature body beneath, hands feeling pulse and life, threading fragile but unbroken. A small low sigh escaped the creature, throat tremor running through massive limbs like it was letting go of fear, inch by inch, nudging against the human chest, a sound of trust more than anything else. And the human whispered softly, reassuring words, "Easy buddy, I am here with you, stay calm, I will not let go." And the medic shifted slightly, one foot forward, shadow moving across metallic plates, watching silently, calculating every gesture. The human murmured again, hand tracing along the creature's shoulder, fingers careful, gentle, full of intent. "Feel safe here with me." The creature moved slightly closer, pressing softly against the human chest, a subtle gesture of acceptance and trust, a tiny spark igniting a bond fragile and new between species. And the human felt hope threading through every fiber of being, realizing in that instant that trust was possible even in the shadow of fear, pain, and refusal. The wind lifted higher, dust swirling like smoke, carrying scent of metal, burnt earth, and hope around the three figures as the creature exhaled softly, trembling less, eyes closing fractionally. And the human whispered, "Easy buddy, stay with me, I am here." The alien medic shifted slightly, a faint click of armor echoing through the dusty, clearing, its eyes fixed on the human and the creature. Something unreadable passing through the sharp gaze, doubt, curiosity, and something softer that had no name. The human stayed crouched, low hand resting gently on the creature's shoulder, murmuring, "Easy buddy, your life is safe with me," feeling the subtle tremor of muscles beneath fingertips, each pulse a thread of fragile trust. The creature shivered slightly but did not pull away, instead nudged closer, pressing its massive head against the human chest, eyes flickering, half closed. And the medic took another step forward, hesitation in every movement, like it was weighing the bond forming before it, like it could sense what the human had begun. The wind whipped dust around them, sunlight catching in armor, and scales glinting faintly. The human whispered softly, tracing along the rough edges of the creature's skin, gentle, deliberate movements, careful not to startle the creature. "Feel safe here. Stay with me, easy buddy." Over and over the creature let out a low sigh, trembling through its body, a tremor of relief, of recognition. And the medic stopped again, watching, calculating, its hands twitching slightly at the sides, as if unsure whether to intervene or step back. The human leaned closer, murmuring reassuring words, voice soft, steady, fingers brushing along the scorched shoulder, a spark of warmth and trust threading fragile and alive between them. The creature pressed closer, still nudging against the human chest, low whines, escaping throat tremors of pain and fear, easing slightly with every whisper, every touch. The medic eyes flickered, uncertainty passing like a storm, breaking, questioning its previous refusal. Finally it took a cautious step forward, hand lifting slowly toward its tools, a movement, small, deliberate, signaling the beginning of action. The human whispered, "Easy buddy, softly, feeling hope spike through chest, realizing that at last help was coming from an unexpected source. The bond held fragile but unbroken in the midst of dust, wind, and silence. The alien medic stepped closer, cautiously, hands moving, deliberately guiding the human movements toward the creature. The human stayed, low hand resting on the shoulder, murmuring, "Easy buddy," softly, feeling the pulse beneath fingertips, a fragile thread of trust threading through the dusty clearing. The creature shivered slightly, but did not pull away, instead nudged closer, pressing its massive head against the human chest low whines, escaping throat trembling less than before. The medic handed tools to the human, its movements. Careful, precise eyes watching every motion as if learning a new rhythm. The human took a shallow breath, whispering, "Easy buddy, I am here. I will not let go." Fingers brushing along the burnt edges, tracing gently the wounded flesh, while the medic adjusted bandages and applied salves. Careful, slow, meticulous actions. The creature flinched at first, but the human murmured softly calming words, guiding it through every touch, every movement. "Feel safe here, easy buddy, stay with me." As the alien medic worked alongside the human, there was an unspoken understanding forming, a bond built on necessity, trust, and a fragile spark of respect. The wind lifted dust swirling in golden light, sunlight catching armor and scales glinting faintly. The creature exhaled slowly, tremors easing, nudging its head against the human chest again, a low sigh of relief escaping throat muscles, relaxing fractionally. The human whispered softly comforting murmurs, easy buddy," almost like a song threading through the clearing, a rhythm of trust and care. The medic adjusted a final bandage, watching silently for signs of distress and finding none, slowly lowering Tool's eyes, flicking between human and creature, a quiet nod passing through expression. Finally the creature let out a small sigh, pressing fully against the human chest, relaxing enough to allow treatment to continue. The human whispered softly, fingers brushing along shoulder, murmuring, easy buddy," and in that moment, in the dust, wind and warmth, trust held, unbroken, fragile, and alive, threading together human medic and creature in a single heartbeat of understanding. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the dusty clearing. The creature rested its massive head against the human chest, breathing slower, muscles easing, tremors fading with each shallow exhale. The human stayed kneeling, hand lightly pressed along its shoulder, murmuring, easy buddy," softly, fingers brushing the scorched skin, tracing warmth, pulse, and life that had returned through careful touch and patience. The alien medic stepped back a few paces, watching silently, armor catching the fading sunlight, glinting faintly, eyes scanning the human and creature, a mixture of respect and something almost like awe flickering across the sharp features. For the first time the medic did not speak, only observed, as if acknowledging the bond that had formed in the space between refusal and trust. The wind stirred, lifting dust around them, carrying the faint scent of burnt earth, metal and hope mingling in the air. The creature exhaled again, nudging closer, pressing fully against the human chest, low whines of contentment escaping its throat, a sound that made the human heart ache and swell at the same time, whispering softly, easy buddy, stay with me, you are safe here, you are okay. The medic tilted its head once more, slowly, before turning and stepping away, leaving the human and creature alone in the quiet clearing. The human held the creature close, murmuring comforting words, fingers tracing along shoulder hair and scales, gently brushing soot and dirt away, feeling warmth, life and trust threading through every motion. The creature let out a small sigh, settling completely against the human chest, eyes half closed, a fragile smile seeming to pass across the massive face as if it understood the safety and care that had been offered. The clearing was silent except for shallow breaths, soft murmurs, and the whisper of the wind. Dust settling, sunlight fading, and, in that suspended moment, human and creature connected through quiet courage, gentle words, and unwavering patience. A bond forged stronger than fear, pain, or refusal, fragile yet unbreakable, threading through the dust, wind, and warmth, leaving the medic standing silently at the edge, a witness to what had been achieved.